The alien nobles react with anger, fear, and insult. Humans are known as weak, short-lived, and inferior in the galaxy. The human man, Captain Elias Ward, is shocked but silent. The alien queen, ancient and powerful, stares at him with cold eyes. Elias is a prisoner, brought after a border conflict between humans and the Empire. He was the only survivor of a destroyed human fleet. The Empire believes humans are brave but foolish, good only as soldiers, not equals. Welcome to my channel Starlight Sci-Fi Stories. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. The royal hall of the Xeran Empire was silent. Not the calm silence of peace, but the heavy silence of fear. Thousands of alien nobles filled the massive chamber. Their bodies were tall, armored, and glowing with strange colors. Some had wings folded behind their backs. Others had metal skin or burning eyes. Every one of them held power over entire worlds. At the center of the hall stood the alien queen. She was ancient. Her presence alone made generals lower their heads. Her throne was carved from starstone, taken from a dead planet long ago. No one spoke unless she allowed it. And yet, someone had just broken that rule. A clear, calm voice echoed through the hall. "This is the man I want as my husband, Mom." Every head turned at once. The speaker was the alien princess, the future ruler of the Xeran Empire. She stood tall, her silver eyes focused forward. Slowly, she raised her arm. Her finger pointed at a single figure, standing far below the throne. A human. The silence shattered. Angry voices burst out across the hall. Some nobles stood up. Others hissed or slammed their weapons against the floor. A human. This is an insult. They are weak creatures. He is a prisoner. At the center of the chaos stood Captain Elias Ward. He did not move. He wore no armor. His hands were not bound, but he might as well have been chained. Around him stood armed guards twice his height, their weapons glowing and ready. Elias felt every eye on him. He was human, shorter than most of them, softer, slower. And alone. The queen raised one clawed hand. The hall fell silent again. Her eyes slowly moved from her daughter to the human. "So," the queen said, her voice deep and cold, "you point to a prisoner of war and call him your future." The princess did not look away. "Yes," she replied. A low growl spread through the nobles. The queen studied Elias carefully. He could feel it like pressure against his chest. Her gaze was sharp, ancient, and dangerous. "Human," the queen said, "do you know where you stand?" Elias swallowed once. He had been trained for battle, for loss, for death. "Not for this." "I stand in your hall," he said slowly, choosing each word, "because your forces destroyed my fleet." Murmurs spread again. The queen did not react. "You are the last survivor," she said. "Your kind calls that bravery. We call it foolishness." Elias lowered his eyes, but did not kneel. "My crew stayed behind so civilians could escape," he said. "If that is foolish, then I accept it." The princess's eyes softened. Many nobles did not notice, but the queen did. She leaned back slightly. "Tell me, daughter," the queen said, "why you would stain our bloodline with something so small." The word small echoed. Elias clenched his jaw, but stayed silent. The princess stepped forward. "I watched him," she said. "I watched him fight when retreat was easy. I watched him stand when surrender meant life." The queen's eyes narrowed. "You watched a human die slowly," she replied. "No," the princess said. "I watched a human refuse to kneel." The hall grew uneasy. The queen turned her gaze back to Elias. "Human," she said, "tell me why you did not run when your fleet was breaking apart." Elias closed his eyes for a moment. The memory came back clearly. Burning ships, screams over the comms, alarms screaming louder than fear. "My navigator was trapped," he said quietly. "Then my engineer, Then the civilians behind us. He opened his eyes. I stayed because someone had to. The queen was silent for a long time. Around them the nobles waited, some with anger, some with curiosity. Finally, the queen spoke again. Humans are known across the galaxy, she said. You burn fast, you die young, you cling to emotions that weaken you. She stood. You are not royal, you are not powerful, you are not immortal. She stepped down from the throne, each step shaking the floor. So tell me, she said, standing before him, why should you live? Elias looked up. I don't know if I should, he answered honestly, but I know why I stayed alive. The queen waited. So that my people would not be forgotten, he said, even if I was the last one standing. A strange silence followed. Some nobles shifted uncomfortably. The princess took another step forward. My mother, she said, our empire rules through fear, through strength. Yes, the queen replied. But fear breaks, the princess said. Strength fades. She looked at Elias. Humans endure. The queen's eyes flashed. You speak as if endurance matters more than power. The princess met her gaze. It does, she said, because power alone creates enemies, endurance creates legends. The queen turned slowly. Around them, the nobles waited for the sentence. Execution. Or silence forever. Instead, the queen raised her voice. Human, she said, you stand accused of existing where you should not. She paused. In my empire, worth is proven. The hall leaned closer. You will face 3 imperial trials, the queen declared. Gasps spread instantly. The first will test your strength, she said. The second will test your loyalty. The third will test your choice. She leaned down until her eyes met Elias. Fail, she whispered, and you will die. Elias nodded once. And if I succeed, he asked. The queen straightened. Then the galaxy will be forced to watch, she said, as a human challenges everything it believes. The princess smiled softly. The queen turned away. The first trial begins at dawn, she announced. Guards moved in. As Elias was led away, he did not look back. He did not smile. He did not beg. He only thought of one thing. Dawn came slowly over the capital world of the Ziran Empire. The sky above the palace burned with colors no human world had ever seen. Long clouds of gold and deep blue stretched across the horizon. Below them, the imperial arena waited. The arena was ancient. It had seen kings rise and fall. It had seen species disappear forever. Its walls were carved with symbols of victory, defeat, and death. Today, it waited for a human. Captain Elias Ward stood at the gate, alone. The metal floor beneath his boots was cold. Around him, massive alien guards stood silent, their weapons active but lowered. None of them spoke to him. None of them mocked him. They watched him carefully. Across the arena, high above the stone floor, the royal platform rose. The alien queen sat upon her elevated throne, her posture calm and unreadable. Beside her stood the princess, hands folded, eyes fixed on Elias. She did not look afraid. But she did look tense. A deep horn sounded. The first trial had begun. The queen's voice echoed through the arena. The first trial is strength, she announced. Not the strength of muscle alone, but the strength to remain standing. The gates opposite Elias slowly opened. Heavy footsteps followed. Out from the shadows stepped a Ziran champion. The warrior was massive, nearly 3 times Elias' size. His armor was thick and dark, scarred by countless battles. In one hand he carried a heavy energy blade that hummed with power. The crowd roared. This was a warrior known across the empire, a creature that had crushed rebels and broken armies. Elias felt the ground shake, as the champion took his position. No weapon was given to Ilias. No armor. Only his body and his will. The queen raised her hand. "Begin." The champion moved instantly. He charged with terrifying speed, swinging the blade down toward Ilias' head. Ilias rolled aside just in time. The blade struck the ground, sending sparks and heat into the air. The force cracked the stone floor. Ilias scrambled to his feet, heart pounding. He knew the truth immediately. He could not win by force. The champion attacked again and again, each strike heavy enough to kill. Ilias dodged, stumbled, and fell. The crowd shouted with excitement. Many expected blood within seconds. But Ilias kept moving. He stayed close, too close. He moved into the champion's blind spots, using the giant's size against him. Each time the blade swung wide, Ilias slipped past it. Minutes passed. The champion grew frustrated. With a roar, he slammed his weapon down again. Ilias was thrown backward, hitting the ground hard. Pain shot through his ribs. The champion raised his blade for the final strike. The princess leaned forward. Ilias did not stand. Instead, he rolled closer. He wrapped his arms around the champion's leg. The move shocked everyone. The champion lost balance for just a moment. That moment was enough. The giant crashed down, his weapon sliding from his grip. Dust filled the air. Ilias pulled himself up slowly, every muscle shaking. He could have run. He could have struck. Instead, he stepped back. The champion tried to rise, but the fall had damaged his armor. He struggled. Ilias raised his hands. "I will not kill you," he said clearly. The arena went silent. The champion looked up at him, stunned. After a long pause, the champion lowered his head. The queen spoke. "The first trial is complete." Murmurs spread across the arena. Strength, not of muscle, but of restraint. Ilias was led away, his body aching, his breath heavy. The princess watched him go, her eyes filled with something new. Respect. The second trial took place that same night. Ilias was taken to a quiet chamber deep within the palace. The walls were smooth and white. A single table stood in the center. The queen waited there. No guards. No audience. Only silence. "This trial is loyalty," the queen said calmly. She placed a small device on the table. A hologram appeared showing a human settlement. Families, children, ships waiting to leave. "They live," the queen said, "because I allow it." Ilias felt his chest tighten. "You will return to your people," she continued. "You will tell them the Ziran Empire is merciful." The image changed. Another hologram appeared. Human prisoners, captured soldiers, some wounded, some afraid. "They will live," the queen said again, "if you swear loyalty to me." Ilias stared at the images. "And if I refuse?" he asked. The holograms flickered. "They die," the queen replied simply. Silence filled the room. The princess was not there. This choice was his alone. Ilias closed his eyes. He thought of his crew, his world, humanity's long history of standing against stronger enemies. He opened his eyes. "I will not swear loyalty," he said. The queen tilted her head. "You choose death for your kind." "No," Ilias replied. "I choose freedom, even if it costs everything." The queen studied him for a long time. Then she waved her hand. The holograms vanished. "The second trial is complete," she said. Ilias was escorted out, his legs weak. He did not know who lived. He did not know who died. But he did not kneel. The final trial came at sunrise. The entire empire watched. This trial was called the Choice. Ilias stood once more in the arena. This time, two paths opened before him. On one side stood the princess, restrained by energy fields facing execution. On the other side stood a group of human prisoners, chained and injured. The queen's voice echoed. "You may save only one," she said. The princess met Elia's eyes. She did not speak. She did not beg. Elia's heart pounded. He took a slow breath. Then he turned. He walked toward the humans. Gasps echoed across the arena. The princess closed her eyes. Elias reached the prisoners and broke their restraints with his own hands. He placed himself between them and the guards. "I choose them," he said. The queen raised her hand. The energy field around the princess vanished. She fell but landed on her feet. She stood tall. "Alive." The queen's voice rang through the arena. "The final trial is complete." The crowd erupted, not with anger but with awe. The princess walked toward Elias. She stood beside him. The queen rose from her throne. "Human," she said, her voice carrying across the empire, "you have passed every trial." She looked around the arena. "Not by power," she continued, "not by fear." She looked back at Elias. "But by choice." The queen stepped down and bowed her head. "For the first time," she said, "the Ziran Empire accepts a human as equal." The princess smiled. She took Elias' hand. "This is the man I choose," she said, "not because he is strong, but because he stands." The empire watched in silence. Humanity had not conquered the stars. It had earned its place.